XRP, Brad Garlinghouse has done an amazing job of creating. And I asked him a few times, I think, where does this XRP army come from? He said, I'm not even sure. Like, they care about this. I mean, when they went through that lawsuit, this guy, Doug Deaton, what was it, not Doug, who was the guy, Deaton? The lawyer, then he ran for...
John Deaton, yeah.
John Deaton.
Yeah, he was on the show.
That guy was literally tweeting 9 times a day, fighting this case in court. He didn't even know the guys at Ripple originally. This was part of his community, and he thought this was an injustice done to his community. And so I think one of the things that crypto has added to investing in general is the idea that community is valuable, right? Look at Tesla or Palantir. They're stocks, we call them meme stocks from a memic value. It's community. Find me one person in the world that says, I'm an Oracle guy, right? I'm an Oracle. I'm part of the Oracle army. It doesn't exist. No one's got an Oracle tattoo, even though Oracle's one of the most amazing companies out there. Larry Ellison's the second richest man in the world. Equities weren't communities.
Hey, what's up, bull runners? Welcome back to the channel. Glad to have you guys here today. My name's Ryan Huggins. And what has the XRP army buzzing like never before right now? Also, why is Bitcoin tanking after a fiery US inflation report? And is Chainlink about to steal the show with a massive 44% surge? Stick around because today's video, we got news packed with twists and turns that you need to know about right now. Plus, we'll be heading over to X to find out all the breaking news that's happening in the crypto world today. We will be talking about Bitcoin sell-off with the inflation report that happened this morning. Should you be paying attention to Chainlink? Plus, we will head over to Forex Factory and go over all the red folder news that you need to know about and what were those numbers that were so important this morning. What do you need to know about that's happening tomorrow? Plus, we'll be heading to the charts for XRP. If you're just here for the charts, feel free to skip to the end. We are going to be checking in on the weekly spider lines, looking for the most important levels of support and resistance that you need to know about in the upcoming days. Plus, we're also going to be looking at the long-term and short-term momentum waves and so much more in today's video. So if you're like most people where you don't have the opportunity to spend hours a day in the crypto news like we do for you here on this channel every single day, make sure you smash subscribe right now. And if you are still feeling bullish about this current bull run, let me know by commenting 777 down below. And we are going to be jumping over to CoinMarketCap here in just a second to check out the overall health of the crypto market. But first, let's finish this video.
It's weren't communities. Right? Crypto brought this idea of community, and it's coming from this breakdown of trust. And therefore, they can be just as passionate about crypto punks, the crypto punk community. Listen, do I think they'll all have the same lasting power as Bitcoin? No. But I've been so freaking wrong on how long some of them have lasted, right? XRP is still the number 3 token. Their people care about it. And when I say care about it, they are choosing to take their hard-earned dollars that they make as a salesperson or as a garbage man or as a chef or as a computer engineer, and they're storing that value in a community, right? In the Bitcoin community, we're storing it on this blockchain that is really guarded by this complex group of miners, right? We store our wealth in this thing. But it's because we're trusting in the community.
All right, as we can see, CoinMarketCap shows $4.01 trillion total market cap. We actually rallied all the way up to just under 4.2 trillion. 4.19 trillion before the rejection to the downside. This does come off the backs of trading of $286 billion in the last 24 hours. Fear and greed index is at 68. Altcoin season indicators starting to take a tick up, as we can see, at 44 out of 100. We really need to be over that 50 out of 100 to really start to feel altcoin season kicking in. Last week, though, was a 33. We are making the move to the upside. Bitcoin dominance is continuing to drop, now at a 58.8%. It's down 4.06%. Ethereum dominance continues to tick up to the upside, 13.7%. Bitcoin ETF inflow outflow has continued to make its way to the upside. As we can see last week, only up $254 million. This week, though, so far, $338 million to the upside. Ethereum inflows continue to absolutely smash it. Last week, only $326 million inflows, but this week, over $2 billion worth of inflows, $2.3 billion. This is now officially the highest week ever for inflows to the Ethereum ETF. And when we zoom all the way out, we can see the month of June absolutely smashed to the upside, over 4.8 billion. Last month was kind of lackluster after that, 2.5 billion. Obviously, the August monthly report will be coming out, and will it smash the June report? And can you imagine when XRP starts to get billions of dollars worth of inflows in a day, in a week? It's going to be absolutely stunning. So let's check in on the XRP ETFs real quick before we move on. 9 major asset managers, including Bitwise, Grayscale, Canary Capital, 21 Shares, Wisdom Tree, CoinShares, ProShares, Volatility Shares, and Franklin Templeton have filed for their spot XRP ETFs between October 2024 and 2025. The SEC has acknowledged these filings, but they have not been approved just yet. And let's not forget BlackRock coming soon. Potentially, they remain on the sidelines, but institutional interest and market momentum suggests XRP could see significant growth if ETFs are greenlit. So keep an eye on December 2025. Will we get them approved before next year? Heading over to X, don't forget to follow us on X. Checking in with the breaking news over here on X. Just in, over $100 billion was wiped out of the crypto market in the past 24 hours. It was not an exciting time because we did have some negative news that came out this morning, and we'll jump into that.
Have you built a crypto portfolio over $1 million but want to access your wealth without selling any of your coins? Well, imagine unlocking up to 85% of your portfolio's value to fund ventures like real estate, to buy other projects in the crypto space that are undervalued compared to the projects that you currently hold, or to diversify into different DeFi yield opportunities. That way you can live on the interest without selling any of your crypto. Well, we've partnered with a leading global office offering non-recourse crypto loans for investors with portfolios starting at $1 million. The same company that is trusted by the world's largest institutions and investors, because as you already know, the billionaires don't sell their crypto, they borrow against it. So if you're ready to unlock up to 85% of your portfolio's value without selling any of your coins, and you have a portfolio with at least $1 million, then email us at team@bullrunners.com. You're going to see our email contact in the description below, and we'll get you connected with the company that has helped clients like ours north of $100 million borrow against their crypto without selling any of it. So reach out to start a conversation with our team right now at team@bullrunners.com, and we'll talk to you soon.
So if you remember, on Tuesday, we reported that the core CPI came out, which is consumer price inflation, meaning you, me, and people who are buying stuff. Do we feel inflation? And actually it was forecasted at 0.3%, and it hit 4.3%. Also, we had the month over month CPI, same thing here, 0.2% forecasted, 0.2% was the actual number. And in fact, the CPI year over year actually came in better. So everyone was all excited at the beginning of the week. Oh, inflation's going down. We shouldn't be feeling these price increases. Everyone was talking about this. Tariffs are not affecting anybody. Well, the new numbers coming out today, this is from the production side, aka the people who are manufacturing and wholesaling to the stores that then sell to you. Well, they are feeling the crunch, and they're feeling it pretty significant. Forecasted at 0.2, came in at 0.9% core PPI month over month. And then, of course, basic PPI, 0.2 forecast, coming in at 0.9%. Those are huge numbers. Now, we did have a little positive thing come out today. The unemployment claims, it was supposed to be 225,000, came in under, but barely under of 224,000. So as of right now, the big major corporations are feeling the price impact on their end. They have not started to transfer it down to their consumers yet. We will find out next month when this information comes out. Are they going to transfer those fees down to us, or will they continue to hold on and actually bear the brunt of those costs? The reality is this coming from tariffs or not? That's not in the actual numbers. We don't know that information yet. We just know that prices are going up on their end, what they're paying for the goods that they are then selling back to us. So which brings us to tomorrow's announcement, Friday morning, which is the core retail sales. Are consumers, which are not feeling the inflation yet, continuing to spend and buy things? We'll find that out tomorrow. Make sure you subscribe so you have that information when we deliver that for you. Also tomorrow morning, consumer sentiment from the University of Michigan will be coming out, and also inflation expectations going forward. So because of those numbers coming out so negative, we did get a huge impact on the price, on top of, at the same exact time, which really hurt us, the fact that we are not getting a Bitcoin strategic reserve. So Scott Bessent came out this morning and said that we will be selling US debt for stablecoins. So they are going to be doing that. That $37 trillion worth of debt, they're going to sell that debt to stablecoin owners, the companies that own the stablecoins, which will then buy the debt, and then they'll be backed 1-to-1 with the US dollar. And this plan will have the United States debt and inject billions into crypto. And on top of that, yesterday, Scott Bessent came out and said companies, not consumers, have been bearing the brunt of the tariffs with corporate margins normalizing post-COVID. That trend is likely to continue. So really, he was telling us he already knew that these numbers were going to come out and they were going to be poor, because this interview was actually yesterday.
Obviously, the tariff itself is paid at the port. But what if the producer in the other country has lowered their price to 10, 15, 20% so that there is no price change with the tariff? And so obviously, our largest trade deficit is with China, and China does not have the same profit objective that other Western democracies do. So that is an employment agency, and my view has been that they would continue to eat the tariff. They are doing that. So I think what we've seen is likely to continue happening. I also think there are probably a lot of corporate margins that got very fat during COVID, and now we're seeing a return to a normal pre-COVID margin. Obviously,
let's say you want to buy a Samsung refrigerator from China, right? So Samsung, you're going to ship into the United States. Me, as a big box store, Costco, Walmart, whatever, has to buy from the Samsung distributor in China. Well, instead of paying this price of $100 for that refrigerator, I'm going to pay $15 less. So I'm going to pay $85 for that me here, the big box store. I'm going to call Samsung and be like, hey, I still want your refrigerator, but I'm not paying $100. I'll pay you $85. Then Samsung then can say yes or no. But if they say no, then okay, fine. Me as Costco, me as Walmart, I won't buy that hundreds of millions of dollars worth of that refrigerator from you anymore. So obviously, that Samsung production company is going to be like, okay, I'll go ahead and pay that 15% or negotiate 10% or whatever the case may be. But these companies here in the United States have to be good negotiators to their distributors in other countries if that's what they're doing to actually earn their margin. Now, what's also really interesting in this video here, the one we talked about in the intro where he was talking about XRP, well, this was actually a really great interview. This clip right here talks about Mike going over the fact that his company is the one that facilitated that 80,000 Bitcoin sale for a client, that person who became a multi-billionaire. I believe they got $9.8 billion or something like that when he sold his Bitcoin, 80,000. What's really interesting, the numbers that came out today and the fact that they came out and said there's not going to be a Bitcoin strategic reserve, at least that they're not going to buy the 100,000 Bitcoin to hold in the strategic reserve. We're only going to actually accumulate it over time, and we'll talk more about that. But take a listen to this, how he explained it.
You guys made headlines recently, and I would love for you to share a little bit more about that $80,000 Bitcoin sale, because
everyone would like this.
Well, but it was fascinating to see. It barely made a blip in terms of the market, right? So it shows how liquid Bitcoin has grown to be. But can you share anything about that backstory? Because it was a whale that transferred to Galaxy. You guys sold it for him, right? 80,000 Bitcoin.
There's some stuff like we don't talk about our clients, and one of the reasons someone trusted us to execute their trade is because we don't talk about our clients. What is interesting is the market held up very well.
Yes.
And, will it have an impact longer term? Yeah, of course. Well, someone took off a bunch of crypto from that satiated a lot of demand. But that's how much demand there's been. These balance sheet companies, and I got to give Michael Saylor a tip of the hat shout out, because I'm amazed at how successful MicroStrategy has been, but all these balance sheet companies are now raising capital.
Now, as we talk about a lot, you've got to be careful when you're out there trading on leverage trading. Take a look at this here. A $10 million Bitcoin short position on Bybit was liquidated in a single order. Now, how painful is this, right? Yesterday, this person gets liquidated for $10 million. Then the very next day, crypto market crashes. They would have been rich. They were trying to front run this. I wonder if they had some insider information or something that was going on. But the market makers do what they do. They ran it up just enough, liquidate this guy, $10 million, and then after that, the price absolutely dumps. This was a great post here from Documenting Sailor. If you made $500 per day, 500,000 rather, if you made $500,000 per day every single day since the Great Pyramids were built, you would have less than half of what the United States government has borrowed since June, 2 months ago. This is absolutely insane. Should probably buy some Bitcoin. And he says here, Bitcoin fixes this. Brian Armstrong, CEO of Coinbase, says all asset classes and capital formation will eventually move to on-chain.
Crypto can make all these things more efficient. So I think eventually we'll get every asset class coming on-chain, not just stocks, but also prediction markets, commodities, like the way startups raise money. All capital formation could be a lot more efficient on-chain.
Is it something that people will choose to be able to put on-chain, or you think it will be something that everything's on-chain regardless of what sort of the proprietor of the asset wants?
Well, we want to do this in collaboration with companies. Like, I don't think it's a good idea to start making these derivatives without the company's permission, et cetera, et cetera. So there will be certain companies that opt into this and they're on the frontier and they want to raise money this way. And then I think eventually it'll just be such a well-trodden path that it'll be a more efficient way to do it. Like, why wouldn't you open up your next fundraise to raise on chain from these accredited investors and various things? So yeah, eventually it'll become the majority.
All right, before we get into the charting. Okay, so before we jump over to the charts, let's go ahead and talk about Bitcoin selling off, intensifying because of inflation. The latest PPI print showed that annual headline inflation is now at 3.3%, which is well above the 2.5% forecasted and the 2.3 reading from the previous month. This is the largest monthly rise in United States PPI since June of 2022. And the stronger price pressures stand in stark contrast to cooler July consumer pricing, the CPI data on Tuesday, which outlined headline of inflation holding steady at 2.7% year over year, and core CPI at 3.1%, reinforcing a bullish case for risk on assets. So as we discussed a little while ago, consumer price showed bull, but then today's price information coming out completely changes that narrative. Higher than expected producer prices signal persistent inflationary processes, potentially forcing the Federal Reserve to delay monetary easing. And for Bitcoin, this could limit upside momentum in the short term. Because as you know, people were getting excited. We were talking about a potential 90% probability of a 0.25% rate cut on September 17th, although it's notable that the likelihood had spiked to 98%, 99%. Some people were even saying 102% that this was for sure going to happen. I mean, even yesterday, there was a tweet put out, update, the probability of US Fed cut rate in September is 99.8%. It is also important to notice that there was a bearish divergence that printed on the RSI as well after Bitcoin did tag that new high of $123,000. On the 3-day chart, Bitcoin has formed a double top pattern, a structure previously observed during January, and the pattern led to a previous correction in Q1 of 2025, during which Bitcoin did drop all the way down to $75,000. So as you guys remember, that crazy run up during November and December, it got here, did a double top, and then had this severe pullback all the way into the 75,000s. So in reality, the reason that this is important is Bitcoin price sets the tone for the entire crypto market. And if Bitcoin keeps sliding, altcoins could follow. But here's the flip side. Lower than expected inflation could spark a rebound in the Fed signals for more rate cuts. But here is the flip side. Lower than expected inflation could spark a rebound in the Fed signals for more interest rate cuts. So keep an eye on tomorrow's Fed statement. Those could be a game changer for your holdings. And speaking of holdings, I know some of you guys out there are holding Chainlink, which is up 44% as traders eye a round 2 rally. And Chainlink's reserve initiative just kicked off, meaning Chainlink is actually doing buybacks of Chainlink, with over $1 million in buybacks already done in order to reduce token supply, potentially driving those prices higher. Santiment said that it's the highest level of bullishness for Chainlink since February 1st over the last 6 months. Chainlink also has been up 54% over the last 30 days, trading at $24 at the time when they wrote this article. Chainlink has also had a pullback in the price down to the $22 level. On Monday, Chainlink partnered with the US-based Fortune 500 company Intercontinental Exchange, or ICE, to bring foreign exchange and precious metals data on chain. Chainlink's tech is critical for DeFi, and the rally shows renewed confidence in its role. So If you're into altcoins, leak momentum could signal broader strength in the DeFi tokens, but watch out because high volatility means pullbacks. So you definitely don't want to just chase these pumps blindly. Chainlink co-founder Sergey Nazarov said on May 15th that the asset tokenization is set to accelerate the movement of capital across traditional markets and will boost capital velocity in asset classes such as treasuries, equities, private credit, commercial debt, and real estate. Crypto's coming for it all. Jumping into the charts for XRP, as we were talking about a couple of days ago, XRP has been trading in this range, finally broke out, coming back down to this level. But what's really interesting, price made this massive run up for these couple of weeks in a row, 4 weeks, when our short-term and long-term weekly momentum was resetting from 0 back up to the 100 level. Price had a small correction, bounced off of that 10 exponential moving average on these weekly charts, and then busted out of this level here. And this is an important level because prior, this section right here was our weekly candle body high until we finally broke out here. So this retest into here is pretty healthy, as we can see. In fact, our candles came back and touched essentially right off of that level on the week. It wicked right down into that level. We'll switch to the daily chart so we can see this a little better. Price did rebound here to the downside after making this massive run up to make our new all-time high up at 366, came down and bounced off the 50 exponential moving average, making a push to the upside, coming back down now, bouncing off the 30 exponential moving average. So we'll continue to watch this level right here. The other important thing that I talk about all the time, and we talked about it on the previous video, is price did such a massive run up on this day. The excitement and everything was going hot for August 7th, that it did leave this massive fair value gap that needed to be filled, and this candle is actually the one that filled it. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and do a bar replay here, and we'll just move it forward. So what you'll notice is as the candle bars play out, boom, this massive one happens, this fair value gap happens, price starts coming to fill the gap, runs to the upside, and then finally yesterday's candle did fill that gap. Now the good news is we have a fair value gap to the upside, and this fair value gap has not been filled right here, which gets us to that $3.41 level. And then obviously breaking into these levels, getting into price discovery again up into the higher levels. Now, on the bear case scenario, the potential drop to the lower levels, we do have fair value gaps that are down here starting at $2.66. And there's even one that could get us all the way back in here, $2.23. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen, but they are there available for the taking to the downside. When we look at our short-term momentum waves here on the daily charts, we had reset to 0, made our push up to the 100 level on our short term. Midterm didn't quite get there. It actually stalled out, unfortunately, and it's starting to make a turn down to the downside. We do have our long-term momentum on the daily still sitting above the 0 line here, so it is bullish, which is nice. We're riding in the green. If we take a look at our 12-hour, we did do a little dip under here. We are still riding in the green on the 12-hour. 12-hour short-term, midterm, almost resetting to 0. So we'll wait for that. In fact, what we can see is price made a run up, and it made this massive run to the upside, maxed out at 100, and started having this little pullback in that time frame. So these are getting close to resetting on the 12-hour. We look at the 4-hour. Our 4-hour shaft trend cycle also had maxed out at the 100 level, literally the candle before having a pullback to the downside. We're almost down to the bottom of that one. The 1 hour, this is positive news here. As we can see, everything was zeroed out. Short-term momentum starting to make the turn back to the upside. We need to see this midterm, the white line momentum start to climb. But this right here is bad news for us in the short term. Now, this is 1 hour time frames. We're not talking long term. This is for day trading scenarios. We are in bearish territory here. We're in the red. So we're going to continue monitoring this the next 24, 48 hours. Do we get bullish momentum and really make that climb back to the upside? One thing I don't like that is bearish right now in my eyes, I can see on the charts, we're rejecting off the 10 exponential moving average on the hourly. And we have this really important blue line right here. It's the 1 hour, 1100 exponential moving average that it very likely could be coming to this level, $2.94. Now, when we take a look at a smaller time frame, such as the 30 minutes, you can see that it actually broke down through there already. But when we go to these higher time frames, the daily is very bullish long term. We are on our way for a 3-day. This is our 3-day candles. Our 3-day short-term momentum is resetting to the downside. Midterms remaining up. That's very bullish. In fact, last time this happened, let's take a look. 3-day candles, everything rose up. midterm, the white line stayed to the upside. We had a short-term momentum reset, and it wasn't a severe pullback. And then boom, another supercharge to the upside. This being on the 3-day charts. We will not know this though, however, for the next 2 weeks or so. It's going to take a while for this to play out, but we'll keep an eye on that. Looking at the weekly charts, they are getting topped out here at the 100. Looking at our 3-week charts though, this is looking crazy bullish, right? So our short-term momentum has gone to 100. It's come back down and reset at 0, and it's making its way to the upside, all while our midterm momentum is remaining at the top. As we take a look at our monthly candles, one thing that we have to keep in mind that could be extremely bullish, which has not happened yet, is our monthly candle breaking above the previous monthly candle body high. So as you can see right now, our monthly candle body high is at $3.03. Price is trading at $3.07. We can also see on the 10 exponential moving average, that's where we really bounced off of and made our run to the upside. So this next 16 days and 23 hours is very important to see if we can push to the upside and remain above this level with a candle body close. Based on our 3-day chart here, we're looking bullish over the next couple of days. We're looking at some bearish energy over the next couple of days until this finishes out. Hopefully, we'll see it just consolidate sideways, which would be perfect. Then the next leg to the upside. Let's check in on our spider lines chart here and see what is going on. So yesterday's price action did come down and bounce off of our spider line right here, which is our $3.01 spider line. If we continue a continued drop below this level, we will then have the $2.90 spider line to come into play. And then after that, we have the $2.80 spider line to the downside. If we continue bearish, which we have some bearish momentum signals here in our short-term momentum. So support levels, we got $3.01, $2.90, and $2.80. If we do flip back bullish, now it is very possible that we do something like this and we just turn right back around where it just starts to make its way back to the upside. Maybe there's a new announcement on the strategic reserve, or there's a new announcement on tomorrow's retail sales report comes out really positive, and we start to get bullish momentum back. Then we will still have that $3.25 resistance. After that, we're going to have our $3.43 resistance. And then our most important resistance line that we have not been able to break with a candle body close is this $3.58 level.
Hey, bull runners, check this out. If you want to learn how to find the next 10x, 50x, or even 100x altcoin in this video, listen to this. Our research team posted GOAT on the 13th of October of 2024 when it was right at a penny, and since then it rallied to over $1 and is currently still up over 5,000%. That's like turning $1,000 into over $50,000. Our team called Pendle at only a $16 million market cap, or 16 cents, back on February 18th of 2023, all the way back here, and since then it's rallied up over 4,000%. That's a 40x. It's like turning $1,000 into over $40,000. Our team also called BitTensor Tau September 15th, 2022, before the token was ever even launched. And since then, Tau has rallied over 2,000%. That's a 20x. Our team even said Solana is most likely to be one of the easiest trades next year, and this was posted December 29th, 2022, on the day that Solana bottomed out at around $8. And since then, Solana looks like it's up over 2,500%. That's a 25x. It's like turning $1,000 into over $25,000. And the bull run is just getting started. The list goes on and on and on. Our team called Sui, Ondo, and even some of the biggest cult-based meme coins like MOG back in July 20th of 2023, the day that MOG launched. So if you want to learn how our team is finding these altcoins before they explode, we just launched Altcoin Pro University, where our research team gives you real-time altcoin picks with explosive potential for this bull run, along with 100+ expert curated classes crafted by industry experts to discover these gems yourself, on top of our live weekly calls every single week for in-depth crypto market analysis and daily updates. And that's just a fraction of what we offer inside of Altcoin Pro University. Just go through the link in the description below, get in right now, watch the 26-minute video covering everything that Altcoin Pro University offers